machine broke down and his part to do the bricks won't be in until another week or two. I apologize for that. And then also the other issue was our Dove folks are no longer in business. I reached out to several other Dove companies. They did not return their call to me. So having a Dove release, unfortunately, is also not possible.
No worries.
But the ceremony itself is what's most important in honoring these folks. So without further ado, Josh and Mike Krug.
Thank you. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for this recognition from NAFF on behalf of my mom. I'll apologize, up front. I am a sensitive person, but I'll be okay. I love my mom a lot, a whole lot, and I will get emotional through this. So I apologize. Just let me pace through, and it'll be okay. I'm going to start with a quote, and this was just kind of a fortuitous or serendipitous thing where I was scrolling through Facebook in the last few weeks, and I actually didn't read the quote. I saw a video, and it was an interview of Jeff Goldblum, and he actually was able to recite this quote from his memory, which I cannot. But I have the quote here, and I think that it's fitting, and when I read it, it really resonated with me and really made me think about life, and I think it will make all think about it and reflect, but it made me think about my mom also. And the quote, I could say it and have you guess, but no, the quote is from George Bernard Shaw, the Irish playwright and critic, and it goes like this. This is the true joy in life. The being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one. The being thoroughly worn out before you are thrown on the scrap heap. The being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances complaining that the world would not devote itself to making you happy. I'm of the opinion that my life belongs to the community, and as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. Life is no brief candle to me. It is a sort of splendid torch, which I have got hold of for a moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to the future generations. That's George Bernard Shaw. Other things that I want to say, again, thank you very much. She would be honored and humbled. It's hard to humble my mother, but she would be honored and she would be humbled for this. And we are honored and humbled to be here and to accept this honor and recognition on her behalf. Her legacy of hard work, kindness, and desire to make the world a better place will be memorialized in front of one of her favorite places in a town she truly loved. In just 4 years in Indiana, she made lasting impacts throughout the Indiana community and Indiana County, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud to be her son. She loved NAFF and believed in its mission, and she loved the people that she worked with. She loved to help out as much as she could, whenever she could, wherever she could, and she did it for as long as she could. one other thing that I do need to say, my sister Jen, who lives in Las Vegas, and my sister Peggy, who lives in Austin, Texas, they couldn't be here today. My sister Jen did send, and I'll spare you, I promise you. It was a little longer than what I'm gonna read, but I am gonna pull from what she did send, because I think it's important to include her. I'm so happy. This is from my sister Jen. I'm so happy that my mom is being honored for her work today. She will live on in many people's memories and lives as someone that was selfless and gave everything to her family and her community just to make the world a better place. And then you want to say a few words?
I just want to say thank you for honoring her like this and recognizing her contribution to the community. She had Parkinson's for 15 years, but she never let that slow her down or let that do anything to keep her from doing what she wanted to do. And just a quote that comes to mind, one of my favorite people, Jimmy Valvano. This would be her. Don't give up. Never give up. And I just want to leave you with that. We also have something we want to
The last item that we'll leave you with, and she would have loved this.
She loved Jimmy's.
Is just to, of course, always remember, be nice to people.
Be nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. It is hard doing this. Rob Moore, we have a lot of people that would like to speak in regards to our founder, Jim Dougherty, and I would like to bring up Rob Moore.
Good morning. My name is Rob Moore. I'm happy to be with you this morning as we induct Jim Dougherty into the Northern Appalachian Walk of Fame. To say that it is fitting that we honor Jim in this way is an understatement. The Northern Appalachian Walk of Fame would not exist without Jim Dougherty, nor would the festival itself exist without Jim Dougherty. They were his brainchilds. He dreamed them up and he made them happen. For over 12 years, this festival celebrated the people of Northern Appalachia, celebrated their music, their arts, their skills and talents, their culture. As we look back on Jim's life, we can better understand why he worked so hard and gave so generously to make this festival a reality. Jim was a child of Northern Appalachia. He was born and raised in Bigler, Pennsylvania, a small former mining town just outside of Clearfield. Graduated from Clearfield High School, went on to earn a liberal arts degree from Clarion State. After that, Jim joined VISTA, the Volunteers in Service to America, always trying to do something to make the world a better place. He assisted with the recovery efforts of the Johnstown flood in 1977. He was involved in numerous other activities before his 2-year stint came to an end. In 1978, Jim came to Indiana and began his studies in the Master's of Sociology program at IUP. I also enrolled in the program at that time, and that was when I met Jim Dougherty some 47 years ago. We soon became fast friends. For the next 5 years, I had a front row seat to Jim's creative genius. It became clear to me that Jim was a man of ideas. Logistics and implementation would be figured out later. Jim was confident, and usually he was correct, but he was the idea man. And he just kept coming up with more and more ideas. In the span of those 5 years, after we started the program, we produced 2 video documentaries. The first, titled A Vote of Thanks, examines the closing of the Robert Shaw Fulton Controls Company in Indiana. Robert Shaw had been encouraged to come to Indiana in 1953. The coal industry had basically collapsed by that time, and in an effort to get more jobs, Fisher Price, Fisher Guide, others were brought in. They were given sweetheart deals. Robert Shaw had been encouraged to locate here. They were given land on which to build their factory. Natural gas was discovered on the property, providing them with energy and cash. Yet 29 years after they came, they left Indiana in search of cheaper labor in Mexico and left hundreds of people unemployed. Jim saw the injustice in all of this. While the documentary was a collaborative effort, it was Jim who was the driving force behind it. The second video project focused on the decline of the steel industry in western Pennsylvania. Again, the focus was on working people in the Northern Appalachian region who had contributed so much to the American economy and then were unceremoniously abandoned. Jim saw the injustice in this, and he wanted to document it. For Jim's doctoral thesis, he documented the story of coal miners in Indiana County in the 30s and 40s, and the struggles they endured as they tried to earn a living and provide a better life for their families in the face of company thugs and the constant threat of losing their jobs and their very homes if they resisted King Coal. Jim saw the injustice in this and wanted to tell the story of the miners and their families. Later, as a faculty member at IUP, Jim taught a graduate course in oral history. He took his students, some of whom are here today, to coal towns in the Indiana area. He documented the stories of those who labored in the mines. But most importantly, he saw the dignity in their lives. This is who Jim Dougherty was. He was deeply concerned with social injustice in whatever form it might take that diminished the lives of those who lived in the region that he called home. That is why the Northern Appalachian Folk Festival was a celebration. It was a celebration of the lives and accomplishments of the people he knew and loved. It was a celebration of music, arts, crafts, of environmental activism, and intellectual and athletic achievements. The people of Indiana County should remember Jim Dougherty with pride and gratitude. He was a champion for the people of Northern Appalachia. He was their friend. Now we will memorialize him with this symbolic brick in the Walk of Fame as soon as it arrives. Pardon my language, but I think Jim is somewhere smiling with his trademark shit-eating grin. Thank you. We have a photo collage over here of Jim over the years, put together by Jim Harris, who will be here later today. And those friends of Jim who are here and would like to join us in Spaghetti Benders, some friends of Jim Dougherty, are going to get together and share some stories and celebrate his life. So you're welcome to join us inside if you're so interested in participating. And again, thank you on Jim's behalf for being here.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak in Jim? Anyone else who would like to say anything? Eric, please.
I was happy to get to know my friend Professor Jim over the years. I got to know him way back in 2003, 2004, and he chartered a bus of IUP students and community members to go down to the inauguration of George W. Bush. And it was the first time that I had been to a major demonstration like that. And it left a mark on me, and it left a mark on that busload of IUP students that were on that trip. It's sometimes these transformative moments, especially when somebody's in their younger years, that can cause them to go on a trajectory of social justice and social service. Over the years, so Jim's one of those people in Indiana that Indiana wouldn't be the same without him. If he didn't exist, this place would be different. And there's a number of people in our community like that, like Professor Jim. And I'm so touched that he was able to start the festival and start this this Walk of Fame. And I was happy to be with him till the end. So, thank you.
Good morning. My name's Anne Marie. I was a friend of Jim's and one of the grouplet, as Erwin Marcus used to call some of his students. This was a little bit after the time of undergraduate when you first got to know Jim, but we were part of the group that, well, we were all part of it. But I just wanted to say it wasn't just that Jim saw the inherent dignity of workers. I think he also had that spirit of regular people can do things, and they have the right to do things and the duty to do things, even though we were working class people, all of us. We were all the students who came to Indiana University. Often, many of us, we call it now the center of the universe, even though we lived wildly all over the place. Because we came here, we were the first in our family to go to college. I remember writing a check for $400 for my tuition to come here. And you think of what it costs now? That's not possible for some people now. So I think as we go forward, one of the legacies of Jim is, yes, we have this belief that we can do things. Many of us are still fighting social justice issues so that regular people it's our country too. And I think that I went to Pittsburgh with him, worked on the decline of the steel industry, and that yes, we have to do something. And then Jim came back here, and he's here, but he's also in all of our hearts. And I loved your quote, by the way, from George Bernard Shaw.
So is there anybody else who would like to have anything to say for Jim? Hey, Jim. Thank you.
I just want to take this opportunity to ask everybody to hold Jim's sister and brother-in-law in the light. Throughout Jim's entire life, his older sister looked out for him. Jim's, because of health issues, Jim's mother wasn't able to be with him, and his father died when Jim was, I think, 18. And Jim's sister provided Jim with unqualified support and love through his, starting from when he was a kid all the way up to the end. And in the face of adversity and challenges, Wendell and Joanne are putting Jim's affairs to rest. And despite the challenges that they themselves face, trying to do that at a distance and with their own health problems. And so I just want to say that I have utmost respect for, and also it's worth mentioning, at least twice, if not 3 times, Jim's sister and brother-in-law, Wendell, made it clear to Jim that if he needed help, he could come and live with them, as did his brother. And Jim wouldn't do it, but it's something to consider that although Jim may not have lived any longer, had he taken his sister and brother-in-law up on their kind and generous offer, his quality of life would have been much better. So again, I'm just asking everyone to keep Joanne and Wendell in their thoughts.
All right.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming here, and 2 special people, Beth and Jim both. We're very fond of him very quickly. And Jim, idea of this festival was his brainchild, and he was an idea man. And the idea was to get this festival started and remember the heritage, the culture, the coal mining industry, the people that lived around here, the people that supported and contributed to the foundation of what Indiana County is. I mean, you look at our small community, and it's unique. It's different from anywhere else. And I think what was said earlier, it's right. Jim had a part in that. It just from the time he ran for state senator against Pat Stapleton, and he got people to help him, and he just did it. He just wanted to jump the system, and that's what he did. And Jim was the idea man. He had the idea for the Northern Appalachian Folk Festival, what it was supposed to be like. And he was an idea man, but he needed a leg man, and I happened to be that leg man at the time. So we got a lot done, and we got it started, and it almost, I don't say double in size every year, but every year it got bigger and better. And even till last year, it was something to behold, to see all these people on the street. And I think and I hope that we will be getting this festival back on track for next year under a different organization, but we will get it back next year, and with the help and support of the contributors to it and the volunteers, I think it could be done. But Jim was a beautiful person. He had the working man in mind, always had the working man in mind, and that's what his life was all about. He was for the working man, and I was just glad to be a part of it, glad to be his friend. For a long time, we spent a lot of time together, and he was a good person with good intentions and goodwill. And thank you everybody for coming. It's been a pleasure to be a part of all of this. Thank you.
Adding on to what Tony just said, I really do wish and hope that an organization will come forward, even with a collaboration to different organizations within the community. It would be wonderful to see the Folk Festival continue on. With that being said, we appreciate the Indiana County Endowment, who has allowed us with their grant to have this event, the fiddle contest this afternoon, the storytelling tomorrow afternoon, and in collaboration with the Pennsylvania Rural Arts Alliance, the events going on at the Artist Hand Gallery. So if you have an opportunity to attend and go to any of these events throughout this weekend, let's move forward into next year so that the educational portion, the whole honoring of what Jim's mission and ideas were will continue. And I thank you very much for attending. Otherwise, we've got an event for memorial service. Did you want to, anyone else? Okay. Certainly, absolutely.
I'm just honored to be here, to be a part of Jim's life, to have been touched by Jim, inspired. I wish I was my normal talkative self who won't shut up right now. I'm struggling to get some words out, but some of you have said it very well. Jim touched our hearts. He made me proud to be who I am, a working class kid. So that was something that, I always called Jim my mentor. He was the leader of our gang. Friday nights down at Shyrock, pot of beans, case of straw, returnable 16 ounces, economics. But that was, as they call now, pregame. It was never even where. It was like, when? Oh, you're there at 5, 6, but, Jim, that was how he touched my lives. But some of you said, he has touched so many lives in Indiana. The legacy that he has built from himself. And Rob, you were a, how did you say, front row, witness to that. I met Jim, later on in the folk, the oral histories. But again, that was huge. And I think that was one of the climactic moments in Jim's life, doing the oral history, and then of course here at the festival. So I guess, like you said, we'll all have a chance to talk inside. I've kind of recovered now. I'm able to speak. I didn't drink the juggling ball, so I'll save you that. But yeah, let's all go and raise one for Jim and hear more about him. Thanks.